Hey y'all, I'm gonna try to do it this way because I want y'all to see my screen and I want to be able to draw on it. So we will see how this goes. Let me hide me. So y'all are gonna see the back of my head unless I turn around, so my apologies. So I wanted to do a quick walkthrough of topographic maps. So here we go. So Thursday's lesson today was a catch-up day. So catch up, you have work you owe, you had stuff you need to do, you had to ask me questions, you needed to figure out how to take pictures and upload it to your Google Slides. So you should have your trusty dusty journal, which is right here, and you should have every page from 1 to 24E. So from 1 through the CER that you didn't have to do. So every single page needs to be taken a picture of and put in your slideshow. Now, what we are going to do today is we are going to go over this assignment, which was the assignment that we worked on in class. My kids in class got a hard copy. My kids at home did it digitally. So let's rock on. Okay, here we go. Exploring topographic map application. So, y'all, what we did, and I thought I was sharing my screen, so I think y'all can actually see this. So here's what we did. We got, where'd it go, y'all? What section am I? Here it is. Okay. So what y'all do is you take, once this loads, you hit this little button and it will pop open into a new window. And then from there, you can download it. So right up here, you can hit this download button and then you can download it. So I'm going to make this bigger so that way I can talk about this topographic map. And I'm going to add my drawing tools so that way we can chat about it, y'all. So pardon the back of my head. So let's chat. I want you to find the 1,000 and then the 1,500 and circle them. These are contour intervals or contour lines. A contour line shows you the elevation of a landform. So usually it's measured in meters, so we will say it's meters. Down here, there's something that says miles, so they're showing you that this much. So if I go like this and I go like this, that is a mile in actual real life land. So now my next question is, if that is 1,000 and that's 1,500, then you count how many lines are in between. So if there's 4 lines in between and this is 1,000 and this is 1,500, what would each of these lines mean? So you can kind of use common sense and think about it that way. Another way that I show my kids is to have them count how many spaces. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces, then what you do is you take 1,500, so 1,500 minus 1,000 equals 500 meters. And then you see how many spaces there were. So we already said there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So then you take 500 and you divide it by 5, which gives you 100 meters. So the contour interval is 100 meters. Or, like I said, you can just use common sense and say, if this is 1,000, let me erase this. Ooh, y'all. There we go. So if this is 1,000 and this is 1,500 and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 spots, it would make sense that each one's 100 because then you have 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, and 1,500. Or 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 1,500. So the contour interval, if I scroll down, the contour interval on this map is going to be 1,000. So contour interval on this map is going to be 1,000. So I'm going to give y'all that, 100, pardon me, 100 meters. I'm going to give y'all that to kind of help you out so you have it and you're good to go. Okay, so 100 meter contour map, contour interval. So I'm going to get rid of that so I can scroll back down and talk about this. So now there's a few more features I want to show you and I want to talk about. So what we're going to do is we are going to look at this river right here. So this is Fish Creek, and rivers are usually shown by a darker line. You can also tell that this is a river because there are these U or V shapes. And what they're doing is they're making like little river deltas almost. So the way that I think about this is as follows. So when I look at this, it looks like a letter V or a U to me. Then if I see all of them together like this, that kind of reminds me of like a chevron pattern or an arrow. It's like the arrow's pointing this way. So look, y'all, if I do this, that's an arrow to me. So the way that I remember this is the base of the letter V, or the tip, is always pointing towards the source. Towards the source. So we'll do this. This right here is always pointing towards the source. So people were asking me, what does source mean? So we've got Sandy. She's such a drama queen. She's always talking. She's always spreading rumors. She's the source of all this drama. What does that mean? It means Sandy's starting the drama, right? It means Sandy's spreading the rumors. She's the one that it started from. So y'all, same thing. Source means the start, or it means where it came from. So this V, or this arrow, so to speak, points to the source of the river, or where it started. So let me get rid of that so I have a fresh, clean spot. So right here, we've got this, and this, and this, and think of it as an arrow. So it's pointing towards the source, y'all. So what's the source of this river? Like Dora the Explorer. Dora the Explorer. What's the source? The lake. So the river is coming out of the lake. So the V points to the source, and it opens up for where it's flowing. So it points to the source, and where it opens is where the river is flowing towards. Flowing towards or flowing to. So another way that I think of this, y'all, and I will just do my best to kind of describe it. If you have a sandhill and you drop water on it, what's going to happen is the water is going to flow. I don't know if y'all can see me. Oh, yeah, you can. The water is going to flow, and it's going to spread out because it tries to find the path of least resistance. So the water tries to find an easier way to go. So what happens is the water drops from one spot. So think of that as the base of the V. It drops from one spot, and then it spreads out, and it goes. So whenever you see it spreading out like this, that's where the river's flowing to. So then you can say that this river is flowing towards the what? Dora the Explorer, waiting for your answer. So it's flowing towards the east, and it's coming from the lake. So this is the source, because remember the arrow points at the source, and where this is going is where it is flowing. So kind of think of like an arrow almost, like with the little parts at the end. So this is where it is flowing. Let me do a little bit thinner, y'all. Flowing. So it's starting at the lake, and then it is flowing towards the east. Okay, let me backtrack that. I'm going to erase it actually. Awesome. So then let's look at some of these questions. So what's the contour interval of the map? We already said it was what? Dora the Explorer, waiting for your answer. Yes, 100 meters. Remember, no naked numbers. Our numbers need to have units, so we're going to say 100 meters. Now, what's the elevation at point A? So let's chat about that. So down here, point A is right over here. So what you do is you look at the line, y'all. It's like follow the leader, follow the line. Right here we go. What does that say? 900. So that's the elevation at point A. Versus what happens if I had my little dot right here? What would you say the elevation is? Dora the Explorer, waiting for your answer. Right? 1,000, 1,100, 1,200. So that would be 1,300. So you literally, y'all, just kind of find what this is called is a contour index, and it gives you a number that then you can kind of figure out what the other numbers are. So for example, if you know the contour interval is 100 and this is 800, what's the next line up going to be? 900. Woohoo! Awesome. So then, dun, 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 let me give you another one. What happens if I am at this spot right here? Take a minute. Think of your answer. Okay, so right here, I'm going to follow this line until I see something I know. So y'all, look at this. What's this? 900, and this is going up the mountain, so it's going to get taller. So if that's 900, then I know that this has to be 1,000. So y'all, that's pretty much what you do. Is it's like this cool little puzzle that they give you some pieces of information. Like I've got this piece of information, this piece of information, these pieces of information, and then I'm able to figure out what it is. So sometimes on a contour map, another thing that they'll do is they'll put this X. Sometimes there is not a number next to it, sometimes there is. So this instance, there's no number, but we know this is 1,500, so what would this line be? Y'all, I crack myself up, I know. 1,600, because if this is 1,500 and we know the contour interval is 100 meters, then 1,500 plus 100 is 1,600. Now, here's the tricky part, y'all. This has to be more than what number? Has to be more than 1,600, right? Because it's higher. But is it quite 1,700? And how do we know? Is it 1,700? The answer is no, it is not. Because if it was 1,700, then there would have been another contour line like that, and then you would know the X was more than 1,700. But since there is not another line, you know that it has to be more than 1,600, but less than 1,700. So keep that in mind. Sometimes, y'all, what they will do is they will take and they will write a number. So like they'll write 1,656, and I'll know that that peak is 1,656, which makes sense because if this is 1,600, it's more than 1,600, but less than 1,700. So that's another little tip. So we have talked about river, and we've talked about how the V points to the source of the river. So that points to the source of the river, and this is the river. We know that it came from the lake because it's pointing this way, and we know that it opens up in the direction it's flowing. So we know it's flowing east because it opened up east. We know that this X is more than 1,600, but less than 1,700 because there's not another contour index. Now, down here, we see 900 and 900 again. So y'all, remember, they have to draw a contour interval every 100 meters. So in 100 meters, or whatever the kind of like ticks are that they set. Remember when we did our mountain, we were supposed to do 1 centimeter every notch. So they have to tell you that the elevation hasn't changed. So if it says the same number twice, what does that mean for what the land looks like? If it's 900 here and 900 here, what does that mean for the elevation? It hasn't done what? It's my little, I'll wait for you to answer dance. So 900, 900, y'all, it stays. It did not change. So that land is flat right there. It was at 900 meters above sea level, and it stays at 900 meters above sea level. And then, bingo, gets to this one. Let me follow, 1,000. So it's like that's the base of the mountain. That's 900 feet above sea level, and then all of a sudden it starts to go up. Okay, so last thing I want to talk about is steepness of this hill, Rock Mountain, and what that means about the lines. So you notice these lines right here I circled in green versus these lines right here I circled in red. I want to know what the difference is physically between these lines and these lines. Think, go. 3 seconds. So what's the difference? These lines are a lot closer together. So they are close together. Versus, what about the red ones? The red ones are farther apart. I'm going to put far apart. So now my next question, and I'll give you 5 seconds to think, is what does close together lines tell you about what the slope looks like? 5 seconds. Yo, I don't know what I'm doing with my fingers. I'm trying to look at things. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Y'all, it's been a long day. Okay, so yes, close together means that they are steeper. So what does steep mean? Steep means that if this is a hill, it's like straight up. Can you see, y'all? If I put my hand, it's like straight up like this. It means that you would not want to climb up that hill, like you'd be huffing it. And you would not want to fall down that hill because you would just roll. So then what do these ones mean that are further apart? If they're further apart, what does that mean? Y'all, let's try this counting again. It's further apart, what does it mean? Great. Yes, it means that it is a more gradual slope, which means that it is not as steep. So for example, that would look something like this. It would be like a hill that you can kind of leisurely walk up. You know, if you tumble down, it's not going to do anything too bad. So steep, not as steep. So you should have some questions in here that ask you things about easiest path. So for example, draw a trail that shows the easiest way to reach the top of Rock Mountain. So what y'all are going to do is you are going to physically draw a line and show me the easiest path. So is this the easiest path? Is this the easiest path? Is this the easiest path? Is this the easiest path to get to the center or top of Rock Mountain? And when I say easiest, I physically mean which one is the least steep, or the most gradual. Yes, if I asked which would be the funnest path, if you are like an adventurer, kind of adrenaline junkie, you might want the steeper path. So I want to be clear that when we say the easiest path, we're talking about the least steep path. Okay, y'all, I mean, I think that's good. I think I touched on everything. So you have to do elevation. I ask which direction Fish Creek flows. Does it flow into or out of the lake? So you need to think about that, where the point is pointing. Which Rock Mountain is the steepest? So we talked about that. What is the elevation of the lake at the bottom? We did talk about what this business right here means. Elevation at point B. So if you find point B right here, you're going to need to figure out how to follow that line until you see another number, and then figure out what does that number tell you about the line next to it. What's the approximate elevation of Rock Mountain, y'all? So we definitely talked about that. Remember, I told you that there is no number here, so you have to kind of look at the number before and then figure that out. You can put a range if you want. And then last but not least is draw a trail to show the easiest way. So we talked about how that is the least steep way. So yeah, y'all, I think that's it. I'll see you later. I'll try to figure out how to turn this off. It might take me a minute, but I love each and every one of you, and you fill my buckets each day overflowing. Okay, bye, y'all. Love each and every one of you. Adios. Sayonara. Avita Zen. Namaste. Sai Chen. Hasta mañana. Bye, y'all.